Welcome everyone to this conversation. We don't even know what to call this conversation, but it is conversation. Uh, it's always a pleasure to speak with Mr. Edward Ejike Okpa. For some people that have been exposed to some of his teachings, it's very different. To some, it's very insightful. To some, it can be a little bit controversial, depending on your leanings. So, but it's somebody I learned a lot from. At least look at his perspective a lot and quite insightful. So today we'll have him in our studio. We're going to be talking about a couple of questions. We just want a couple of questions because he's a deep thinker and he likes to explain a lot on things. So today we'll pause a bit to be our native land of Nigeria. We'll talk about Nigeria a bit. He's been very, very critical of Nigerian leadership, which everyone that has come out of that land should be critical of the country. If you want the best for the country, you should be critical of it. So today we'll just pose some questions to you. I'll be the one moderating, and you'll be doing most of the talking. So
thank you, sir. Thank you, Major.
Yeah. So today we'll be talking about the geopolitical landscape of Nigeria. He's a real estate guru and expert. He's been doing it for what? Close
Since
to 40 years?
83
when
I graduated college. So
he's been close to close to 40 years in the business. He's also a geopolitical analyst and a global affair insider on a lot of wide array of issues. So today we'll be talking about Sub-Saharan Africa and Nigeria, our dear
hometown, country of birth,
home and native land, as we call it.
Yeah.
I think that's the old Nigerian anthem.
People say motherland, but I prefer fatherland. Now, I mean, America is fatherland.
Yes, fatherland, yeah. So today we'll be discussing briefly about his position on the current geopolitical landscape and the looming election that is going to be taking place in a few months in Nigeria, under 100 days from what I've been told.
Yes.
In Nigeria. So let's what is your position on this? Looking at what has been going on for quite some time now. You know, we have the Christmas season coming up, and then after the holidays, we're straight into
the campaign. I mean,
election. Yeah, so, and I know for a lot of Africans, a lot of Nigerians rather, that either born or imported or whatever you want to call it, it is imperative for us to follow what happens in a native land, despite the fact that you've been unplugged for quite some time from the country, but you still wish the best for the country in a way. So from your standpoint, what should Nigerians heading to the polls in less than 100 days should be looking into?
Well, I mean, thank you for having me on the show. I'm born and raised in Nigeria, but at the same time, I came to America by choice. And, I have been here, and this is home for me. I have lived in America longer than I have lived in Nigeria.
Oh,
but the point again is, I have ancestry and heritage connection to the country. I still have family members there. And so, just like a few minutes ago, you got called from home about certain things.
Yeah.
I mean, every Nigerian, each time you get a phone call, what are you? Your heart start to beat.
Yes.
Is it money or somebody's passed away or some kind of crazy stuff going on? So that's not what we want to hear. But again, it happens. So, I mean, Nigeria is not a new country. It's not something that was invented yesterday. You look at the amalgamation, it was 1914. So 108 years, more than a century.
Yes.
The two, northern and southern part have been, brought together. I mean, countries have always been formed in that manner. So for a century, and then in the independence is 1960, so we are more than 62 years of independence.
Yes.
You have heard about the saying, a fool at 40 is a fool forever.
Yeah.
So is that the case with Nigeria? I mean, if had Nigerians who are well educated, we've gone over well. So how come they can't figure out how to get it right in the country? It doesn't matter what your religion is. When you talk about tribe, America has everybody from all kinds of tribes in the country. But we're governed by rules. So that's why you can see somebody who doesn't look like you is your neighbor.
Yeah.
Because we are motivated by what? Where we live and who we work with. So the Nigerian situation where they say, oh, the Yoruba, the Hausa, the Shikeri, the Fulani, is always pointing as a particular group of people, as if those are the ones causing the trouble. But then when you go within the tribes themselves, then what are they doing? It's not like any tribe is an example for the other. It's not the Yoruba's example to the Yoruba or the Hausa. Nobody's copying from anybody. They always find the reason, okay, it's these people's fault. No. If you leave any of the tribes alone, would they even get it together? Is the question. It's very, very challenging because we have not mentally migrated to where we look at the country as citizens. Nigerians look at their country from the tribal level. So, they get excited if their own man or woman is governor or president or that. But forgetting that because your own person is in that office doesn't mean you're going to do it right. I mean, we see that with blacks in America. When you have a black mayor, does it mean the neighborhood is good?
I see.
So you could look at the DNA. It's like anywhere we are, it doesn't matter. There's this saying that they said, skin folks are not kin folks. Because somebody looks like you. We are looking for men and women who are going to look beyond their race, their complexion, and geography of their birth, and do what is right. So as Nigerians are coming up on the election for next year, they have candidates, but a lot of them are already polarizing on, Tinubu, Atiku, Hausa, P2B, P2B Igbo, Kwankwaso, Hausa. So they're already falling along those lines. Instead of looking at, okay, who is going to rescue Nigeria? Who is going to put Nigeria on a path of development that will make every Nigerian have a sense of patriotism as opposed to tribal affiliation? So I want to vote. I mean, the last time I voted in Nigeria was in 1989 and 1983 election. Because I was still back there, but since then you have civilian government, and I mean in 22 years, and I will not even vote if they give me the opportunity to vote because I'm an American. I mean, what is my vote gonna do? There are 200 million Nigerians in Nigeria. So what is the 5 million Nigerians outside Nigeria gonna do? So let the people at home take the responsibility to make sure that whomever they are choosing, because those are the people who are going to impact them. They're not impacting me. The only impact I get is my family members.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you can't have divided loyalty. I think I'll always maintain that.
Well, the Bible says it. No, for those who read the book and who believe in it, nobody can serve two masters at the same time and do a good job.
Exactly. You see that you serve one great and the other one you lack.
You have to pick one.
Exactly.
Just like when we have a coin, we're tossing a coin for a game, head or tail.
Exactly. You can't have both.
Yeah.
You can't have both. So now, looking at, from your experience, you've lived on the continent. You've lived in Nigeria for a bit, for most of your formative years before migrating over here. And then you've been through several. You've been through the Biafra War.
I was a kid when the Biafra War started. Exactly. My father was part of, before the war started, my father served in the Eastern Nigerian House of Chiefs.
Okay.
So when the war started, and then Biafra became a country of his own. Yeah. So it became Biafra Consultative Assembly. So my father was a member. So all those members who were in the House of Chiefs became consultative, to Juku.
Okay.
Until, so, yeah.
So you've seen different versions of Nigeria over the course of time, at least different republics. You've been part of it, either as a young boy, as a young man, or as an adult. You've at least been able to have your own, you probably have formed your own thoughts about what Nigeria is. And you've seen the trajectory over the course of time, how Nigeria was before, what it is now, and what it might be in the nearest future.
Well, I mean, every country has gone, through its ups and downs, the valley and the peaks and all this. But it comes a time when a few, you've been there, you're a retired military officer. Well, the Marines say what? The few good men.
The few good men, yeah.
Who are those few good men? Okay, let's make it gender inclusive. Who are those few good men and women that Nigeria has that will say enough of this? Okay. Who are they? They're not, they may be there, but they're silent. And they're also consensual. That is, their consent to these things going on. It doesn't even have to be about the president. It's about your governor. Your governor is right there. He's taking over the physical, the monetary, the everything about the state, and they decide what goes on, and people are sitting there. If I were to go back to Nigeria, let's say I retire in Enugu, I have nothing to do with the man in Ibadan. Absolutely. He's not my regional. He's not my next door. Okay, so I should be concerned about what my governor in the state I live in is doing, as opposed to anywhere else. That's why in some interview I gave, Nigerians don't have issues election. It's always about their personality. You should go to a level now where we said, okay, in your state, we want our governor to serve for no more than this. You know what I mean? You start to have those things that are specific to that particular state. And then you look at, okay, the states that are next to you, because Nigerian states are very tiny in terms of their budgetary strength and capacity. You look at states that are next to you and say, what regional projects can you do in order to extend and stretch the benefit of your money? Because everybody's tiny.
Tiny, yeah.
And most of these states don't even have $1 billion budget. Some of them are $300-400 million. Okay, by the time you do your recurring expenses and your physical, how much do you have left? But you can stretch that resources by doing certain things in a regional basis. Then, for instance, they have the 6 political zones. If Nigeria really want to make a drastic change in order to make the country function, they should go with these 6 geopolitical zones. Okay, I think I have shared this with you. What they should do is don't have president anymore. You have associate president. So every zone will elect an associate president. Okay? And then the 6 of them get together. And then Abuja person should not be, maybe called a deputy president. Okay? So that you have odd number. Okay? So you have 7 of them. And then all 7 of them get together and they choose one of them to be president.
Interesting.
Okay? To be president. So Nigerians don't have to elect a president one time.
Okay.
You elect somebody from your zone who is an associate president.
Okay.
And then Abuja guest person will never be a president. He's just a tiebreaker. Okay. So you have them, 7 of them get together. Abuja person casts a vote, and you make sure you rotate that from zones to zone.
Okay.
And then that becomes president.
Okay.
And then each associate president will live in the zone. Not in Abuja.
Okay.
Only the president lives in Abuja.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you go back to the Senate. You give the 36 states no more than 1 senator.
Okay.
So you have 36 senators, and Abuja still gets 1.
Okay.
Because that's why you have 37.
Okay.
Okay. And then for House of Representatives, you could do it by population.
Okay.
And no state should have more than 5.
Okay.
Okay. And all they do, you restrict them to the number of times they go in Abuja.
Okay.
So you only go for issues that has to do with defense, military, foreign affairs, international, the stuff like that. When it comes to education, boom, let the zones handle it.
Okay.
So the money that comes to the center has to be shared to the center. So you have a budget to run Aso Rock. You have a budget to run the time these people are in Abuja for specific legislative function.
Okay.
They don't live there. There's no more housing for them. There's no more allowances. But once you finish your meeting,
back to your constituents.
Head home. Head to your zone. And then, so the associate president for that particular zone is there with the people constantly. Okay? The 6 zones will now choose to build a official residential place for that particular deputy.
Wow.
I mean, associate president.
That's
okay?
bold.
That's where they're going to live. So any meeting, you restrict the number of meetings they have. So that way Nigerians are not going to be saying, oh, it's only Yoruba people or Hausa people or Fulani are producing. You now have people from the zones that have the title of associate president.
Okay.
And one Abuja guy is deputy, but he only votes. He only functions his votes to break the tie. And then if you have a Northwest guy, you don't even have vice presidents anymore. Boom. All the associate presidents work with the president.
That would be ideal.
Because so that
so there's
the tension,
an equal
the tension of it's only these people producing, only people there and there goes away. And you can even go back and make it 1 term, like they do in Mexico. 7 years is all you get as president. 1 term you serve, you're done. No re-election. And you can say, okay, in the middle of the term, by the time of like 4 years. You could do a vote of confidence thing, just ceremonial something to see how they are doing.
Okay.
But one term, so that we don't get into this re-election and start to cause tension. You get in one time, you're gone. The senators are limited to no more than 2 or 3 terms. The House of Members. So you lower the cost of government, and then you push it back to the people.
I think it's very top heavy at the moment. It has to be bottom.
I mean, it's a benevolent. Nigeria has a benevolent democracy. It's the wish of the president and the wish of the governor. The governor goes to your village, oh, I want to give you 1 billion naira. Where's the money coming from? He makes it look like it's his money. And the villagers start dancing. Oh, it's our man, it's our woman. We don't need that. Every money of the public that you spend has to be, cognizant of what the need is. You don't no longer give money out of the pocket. The governor should be restricted and the president. So you said, what is the budget of, say, Oyo State? $1 billion. Governor, you only get 5% of that money to run the government house. So what is that? $5 million. That's all he gets. So you move from benevolence to agency, to where all the state agencies and departments and ministries are now getting the money to do what they're supposed to do. The governor doesn't award contract. You can say out of discretion because of the sacrifices he's making, okay, you can only award a contract of the value of no more than 50% of what your budget is to run the government house. You put it in law, you write it into law, and you restrict him. But now they give contract to their wife, to their daughters, to everybody. And so everybody gravitates towards them. Have you been to the government house in Nigeria? It's like a market.
Wow.
Everybody lines up to see the governor. The commissioners don't even go to their ministry. They go to the governor's office first. Because every contract is awarded from the governor's office. No, it's too much. And they only get 24 hours in a day. So what are that? How much time do they have to really think and process stuff? So restrict the things they do. We love the fact they are governors and president, but you cannot be running the state money like it's your own personal money.
I think the governors and the president, they have so much power that
because of the way the black people look at power. You go to black neighborhood, go to communities that are run by black people in this country. They see their council member, their commissioner as if they are the ones. Well, white people don't do that. That's why we have too much. They say black leader, Hispanic leader. Have you ever heard of somebody called white leader? If they call somebody white leader in America, they say it's KKK.
Yeah.
Well, black people or minorities are willing to jump out, I'm a black leader. No, we don't need that. Lead yourself, but lead yourself by the policies that are in place that make sure there's a fair playing ground. And not because it's your own person that looks like you.
It's a lot of work to get to that level in Nigeria because a lot of restructuring ideas have been going forth.
But nobody's talking about this regional so that you give the people the peace of mind that your own man is there.
Exactly. And I think each region, there's some sense of homogeneousness going on in there.
Whatever it is, now regional, we have it south, east, south, west, south, south. So boom. So that somebody from your region is making a decision at the center. Exactly. It's not just, okay, the Hausa man can be president, Igbo man vice. Other people are saying, we're not there. So when you do it this way, you are giving everybody opportunity to be at the table. And then you restrict what they can do. Foreign affairs, national security, military, highways, so that nobody can stop a federal road coming through their state. Okay, water rights. But that's it. The president does not say anything about education in the East or West. There's a federal budget for education. How do you guys share? You go to your state. If you want to starve your people of education, that's your business.
Yeah, that would be ideal. That would be an ideal situation.
But we start to talk about it.
Yes.
And then there's a solution because all this other constitutional something, even if you give Nigeria American constitution, they will not do it right. Because they have not mentally migrated to where they understand that the Constitution has to be relevant for the people, not for the man who is behind the desk as the president.
Yeah, I think what I've seen that is quite prevalent in most communities is the fact that the people that we elect in there, we for some strange reason, we believe that they serve, we serve them. Instead of should be the other way around, that they are the one actually serving us.
Because that's the culture of the black person, or the African, You look at your, Igwe, Oba, Amanabo, Oni. When you see them, you are bowing. You're rolling on the ground for them.
So there's a cultural nuances into the way we treat our leaders because of that.
We worship people. We are all about, if you say certain things about your village chief, people will tell you, shut up, they're going to slap you. Why are you talking about that? And so by default, you create this larger than life thing about them. And they exploit it. They are human beings. They exploit if you don't say, hey, Your Excellency, if they come to your house, you have to even roll down for them to sit down in your own house. And you think it's okay. It's not respect, it's an abuse.
Wow. That's a very thought-provoking.
Well, Major, you know me. I don't do these things to make people feel good. I mean, I don't appease people. I want to appeal to them. But it hurts to see 200 million people become victims of 1 plus 36 men in Nigeria. Do the ratio. Divide 200 million people by 7. So how can it be? And people are saying it's okay.
So you've mentioned your write-ups that I've read that 2023 is a very pregnant year for Nigeria.
Yes, it is, because we don't know. You're looking at I call them the good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay. You could choose them based on your own preferences. Okay, if I say, Peter Obi is the good, okay, fine. Atiku is the bad, and Tinubu is the ugly. Somebody can switch that. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at it, okay, all 3 of them have been governor. I mean, Atiku was governor before Obasanjo, brought him in as vice president. But who is he? A custom officer who, there's this saying, show me a custom officer who has never taken a bribe, and I'll show you an Italian who doesn't like spaghetti. Okay? So that's how I'm going to qualify Atiku. Okay? Then Tinubu, there's this rumor going around that, the Lagos State, part of Lagos State money comes to him. Okay. But nobody has come up with a document or the chief financial officer for Lagos. Okay, show me who you send money every month. You keep going on. Nigerians are not very critical. They're not very investigative. They just take something and they run with it. And they start to stress themselves out. Whether sometimes some of those things are wrong, they believe in it. Because they haven't found the factual way to prove, hey, that's not true. But the people that you're saying about it take advantage of it. Because now they feel powerful. So if they said there's a corporation that is paying Tinubu, Lagosians should know what that. Why are you paying him? And who authorized that payment? Nobody will say that. Is it the House of Assembly? We don't have an active citizenry group that is a pressure group. They say, okay, I'm going to sue.
I put the pressure on the legislature.
Yes, I'm going to sue Lagos State. I'm going to sue Tinubu. I'm going to sue them to come in and deny in court.
But the rule of law and the court system in itself has to be efficient enough to be able to...
But you have young people now that are lawyers, that are vibrant. But, you have this class system they do in Nigeria, the SAN.
But the young as well, I believe they can also be the product of their own environment.
Well, look, the young is feeding off from the old. So, exactly. The people that are in office now, at the time they were not in office, they were complaining about the same thing.
Exactly. So I think it's a vicious cycle that you have. We've all, as a young, I know when you were younger, you probably complain about the same thing that we're complaining now.
Well, at the time, I told my father to stop being chief. There's no need for that. How many Nigerian men will say they have ever said that to their father? And my father listened, and he got out of it. He said, Papa, don't do this anymore. You've done this job when you had prestige. What are you doing now? And but I already came to America for that.
Okay.
And my father listened. And I said, Papa, get out of it. Let these other people do it. Don't.
But now we have, and I believe the youth are very vibrant, but I also believe that because they haven't been properly mentored, they're going to do far worse than the people.
Because what is their comparative source of anything? What are they comparing to? We always as good as our environment or where we grew up in. But a lot of these people don't have conversation. How many Nigerian men or women actually sit down at home and have conversation with their parents?
Yeah, and I think the conversation that goes on around the younger generation is how screwed up the country is. Not how do we come up with systems.
Because they don't know.
Exactly. So how do we come up with systems and different processes to be able to make what is already in existence better? And I think that is my concern, because I see a lot of criticism, but there is no solution. Nobody is proffering solution.
I don't do criticisms. I'm critical.
Yes.
In my household, you've been to my house. You know, my wife is Yoruba.
Yeah.
We're critical of each other. And because when you're critical, you're asking yourself, is this all you can do? Is there another thing you can do better?
You're challenging.
You're challenging yourself.
That was but my question is, what I'm seeing is, I mean, at least on the media, is the fact that a lot of people are presenting all that is wrong, but nobody's proffering solution to solve this
because
problems.
They don't know. They haven't been outside. They don't war. You know, Nigerians don't war. They don't recruit. They will just say, oh boy, you are one of us now, come home. No, you should go warring. You should go recruiting. If that's something somebody has, you don't have to like the person. But if that's going to make the common good for greater good better, go to that.
Absolutely.
Because I like what you're saying. How do we go about it? Because these things, you know, if you look at America from the time, you know, remember at the time, Black people were not allowed to vote, white women were not allowed to vote. But all of that have changed because people were critical.
Exactly.
And they put pressure
on it.
And that's why we had the amendments. Remember, if you look at we have 27 amendments and 13 articles. Mm-hmm. Okay? People say, no, we're not going to do this. Okay, get it. But where are we doing it? That's why even in Texas today, our Texas governor can run for president of America and still be governor because our governorship run counter to the presidential election. And our governors can run forever. I mean, if they keep winning. Yeah. But other states, you know,
have that kind of
there's a limit at the time. And then some governors are paid more. Some people don't even have official mansions. Every state is different.
Wow.
But in the case of Nigeria, it's the same top-heavy waterfall. Whatever the president wants done, that's what happens. And then the governors themselves, you know, just run the state, you know, in a manner that they like because the House of Assemblies are weak.
Absolutely. Wow. It's been a very interesting conversation, quite insightful as well as always. For Nigerians going to the poll in a few more weeks, they have a lot to think about, and they have to kind of probe their own conscience going forward about what kind of Nigeria do they want going forward. So it's a lot for them to digest. But I want you to give a parting shot of just in a minute. What would be your advice for the young, the old, and the in-betweens?
I mean, you know, the thing is, look, any Nigerian is there, except for the babies. You know, if you're 20, you know, you're already, you know, young adult. You look at yourself. You finish college, you don't have any job. And then you don't, even when you have a job, you're not paid. So you ask yourself, you have your own village man, who is a senator, who is a house member, is a governor, and all of that. How has that benefited your life? You have to start looking for people who are going to do the job and not starve you or say, oh, you know, it's our turn to be, this is our turn to be president kind of thing in Nigeria. That is what is creating all this tribal tension. So I don't know what I said is going to make sense to anybody, but if they can go that route, then you put it back on the Nigerians. You have to be responsible for what happens in your country. And you can't just be blaming, and you don't have the will to do anything. You know, the emperor is as good as the people in the empire keep saying, Your Majesty. Okay?
Absolutely right. Thank you so much, Mr. Edward Ejike Okpa, for your thought-provoking perspective and opinions. And as always, it's always refreshing and more importantly, quite insightful. Until next time, everyone, until we gather on such conversations again, have a blessed one. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you for having me, Major.
All right.